All right. So welcome back, everyone, to Real Estate Strategies with Remax Hallmark. I'm super excited today to be here with Andrew Bolton and Wayne Clements from the Bolton Clements Team. Welcome, guys. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Nice to see
you,
you,
Micah.
Micah.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. So I really appreciate you guys being here. And, we're here. We want to talk about your guys' story, what you've learned, what you've built at a high level, and what you believe agents need in order to win right now. So I'm just going to get started right in and ask you guys some questions. I'll ask some warm-up questions, and then we can kind of go from there. So where do you guys, what area do you guys live in right now?
You can go first, Wayne.
I am in the hamlet of Bellewart, which is like Lefroy area near Innisfil.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I live in a small town, I guess it could be a hamlet as well, called Mount Albert, which is about 10 minutes east of Newmarket.
Just a couple of small town boys.
Nice. And your guys' main office is in Newmarket?
Newmarket,
but our team runs, all over. So 50% of our business is still in the 4-1s. And then we go as far west as Burlington and east into Durham and north Barrie and sometimes Cottage Country, depends on what our clients need, because we're definitely very client based, but huge area.
Awesome. And Wayne, what did you do? How long have you been in real estate?
Since 2011. So what's the math on that? 14 years. Yeah.
And what did you do before real estate?
I'm a career-long, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So I've been running my own business. I was a painting contractor. My wife and I ran a home renovation company. She was an interior designer. So yeah, for 25 years, I put myself through university doing that, and then graduated in the Great Recession of 1990 when there were no jobs, and continued swinging a brush, and I just kept going. Yeah, and that's what I did.
Awesome. Andrew, what did you do before you got into real estate?
Nothing. No. I was an opera singer in university, and then I came out and was a commodities trader, and I traded beef, pork, and dairy. Not overly exciting. And I got licensed while I was still doing that. And so I did both for 2 years before I jumped full into real estate.
So any questions I have about beef, pork, meat, I can give you
either any of those. Yeah.
Pretty diverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny, which is a lot of us in sales, right? Diverse background. But what pulled you guys into the business, Wayne? What pulled you into real estate?
So, every great idea we have comes from my wife. She had actually started down the process of getting her license prior to me. And I guess I was in my mid 40s that my hands started to tingle. And so it was an early warning to me that I needed to get off the tools and find something that was a little easier on my body, because I wanted to be able to swing a golf club into my 60s and 70s. So Janice suggested, hey, why don't you try real estate? You know about homes, and you're pretty good with people. So I listened to her, and here I am.
Nice. And what about you, Andrew?
I made the mistake that most of the public does, thinking that I didn't want to pay commissions when I was buying a house. So I went in and got a license, and ended up realizing I didn't pay commissions. And actually, Mike, I used you to buy my house back in the day.
Paid 8%.
Yeah.
How many years ago would that have been?
16 years ago.
16 years ago. Wow,
yeah.
that's
16
awesome.
or 17 years ago. So
I forget about that.
Yeah. You helped us buy
I've blocked it. I've blocked it out of my memory.
Worst client ever, eh?
One of those challenging.
Yeah, it probably was. I think we saw 14 houses that one day, Micah.
What?
And being the high D guy that I am, I had to buy a house that day. So we made you write an offer after showing that many houses. I was probably not the best client, frankly.
That's actually not bad. I dig that.
It's not bad. It's a lot of houses in one day, but you get it out of the way in a day. That's
You just got to work 35 days a year, right? And then you got your 35 deals. It's awesome.
Well, I haven't seen you since until now, today. So I mean, there wasn't much work there. No, I'm kidding.
So when you started in real estate, what kind of agent did you think you'd become, Wayne?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. You know what? I think my goal was the first year. I remember talking with Janice about, I want to make 60,000. I think the goal now is everybody, when you talk to them, when they get into real estate now, they're all the thing now is 100,000. I think back then I was I just want to make $60,000 a year. And that was really just the goal with that, was That's what I thought. And I ended up doing, I think I did 85 the first year, but my goal was, that was it. It was just like make 60,000. And other than that, I wasn't really thinking about anything else other than the money.
Amazing. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I wanted to supplement. I wanted it to be sort of a side gig. So I was hoping for, 80 to 100 grand just on the side on top of my everyday job. That was the plan. It changed, but that was the plan.
I actually remember talking about that, when you first, I think, got licensed, and thinking, he's going to move into full time before he knows it.
Yeah, it was 2 years. It was scary though. When I talk to agents now, they're, part time and have another gig. I get it. It's really quite scary.
Yeah, because you're going from a good income. You've got a new family at the time, probably.
Mm-hmm. I did, yeah.
Or close to a new family, and to make that jump is full time is a scary jump for sure.
Super scary, from a salary to eat what you kill.
Yeah, it actually leads perfectly into our my next question, because I was going to say, what was your biggest fear early on? Wayne, what was your biggest fear?
I think it was asking for business. I was okay talking with people, but I think it was asking for business. And I remember I called my sphere first, and then I door knocked as well. And I remember rehearsing my script in front of the mirror for I don't know how long before I finally got in my car, and then sat in my car for 45 minutes before I actually got out of the car and knocked on the door. And I think that was it. It was just asking for people, asking people for business. I think that was my hardest.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's big for a lot of agents, and it's really interesting for me to hear that you so early on had a script.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, how many, so many agents fight or won't use a script or don't want to use a script, and I feel like they just prolong that agony, and it makes it worse to get over that fear.
You get caught in the getting ready to get out the door to start, right? Yeah.
Just
go.
Yeah. So Andrew, what was your biggest fear when getting started? Was it making the shift from a full-time career?
Yeah, I think it was probably making the shift, from part-time to full-time. I came in not knowing anything about how to be a realtor. So I didn't know that there's people there to help you, what the brokerage can do for you, that there's scripts, I honestly didn't know anything, which maybe saved me a little bit from some of that fear that I see in some other people.
Yeah. What would you guys, if you guys went back a year, do you remember how you got your first client? Wayne, do you remember how you got your first client?
Yeah, I was doing one of those launch programs within the brokerage, similar to, I think it's Launch with Remax, right? And we were calling our database, and I called a client of mine who I'd painted for, and I said, "Hey, I'm taking on this new role, and anybody looking to buy or sell a house?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do. I am." And I went and listed this house and got it sold.
Awesome. So Andrew, do you remember your first client and where they came from?
Yeah. So I had a good network, thankfully, from a fraternity that I was in university, and they were gracious enough to give me my first shot. They knew it was my first shot, but they gave it to me, and we did fairly well. We bought a house, but I forgot to get the co-op signed. And I remember I had to chase down the realtor, who incidentally was the owner of the house too. So he was selling his own house. And I pulled him over on the side of the street on Coxwell and got him to sign on the hood of his car after we had already come to an agreement. I think he was walking away rubbing his hands together, knowing that I was so green. But yeah, that's my first deal.
That was back when we used to meet at the house to do offers, right?
Yeah, there was no digital signing or anything like that. Yeah.
A lot of new agents watching this don't know,
And I think when somebody 6'7" pulls you over on the side of the street and tells you to sign something, you should probably just go ahead and sign it.
He was a bit scared. Yeah.
How many of your deals have you gotten from intimidation, Andrew?
All of them.
It's a big teddy bear.
Yeah.
What was the first strategy or habit that really helped you move the needle? Andrew, you want to go first
on this one? For me, it was something I did naturally, which was calling and speaking to people. So speaking to what I now call database, but I would just think of them as friends and colleagues. I would speak to them daily or, weekly or whatever it may be, depending on how close the relationship was, where they are in the sphere. And I did that for commodities trading as well. So it was always just about contacts. That wasn't something I needed to learn. It was just more contacts means more business.
Yeah, that's great. What about you, Wayne? What are your thoughts?
It's the same thing. It was just calling my old database of people Yeah, that's where I started, and then I layered in a geo farm after that. A majority of the business came from my sphere of influence initially.
What mistakes would you say cost you the most money early on? Wayne, do you want to?
Similar to Andrew, I did not give up my original gig, so I kept painting. I think it was 2 years as well, where I'd go out, I'd hang my suit in the back of the truck, and I would go out and I would contract from 7:30 to 3:30, and then go show houses and work on weekends. And so it finally took me 2 years when I was doing double duty for me to go, okay, this is enough. I can't manage both gigs. So I think that not giving up that early enough and not having the confidence or whatever it was to say, draw the line, here it is. Because once I decided, I made the conscious decision, because that's it, I'm done contracting. I kid you not, the phone rang 3 times that week for people who are looking to transact in real estate. So when the universe knows what you want, it provides it, right?
Yeah, totally. I believe in that for sure.
Yeah.
What was the biggest mistake you made early on that cost you the most money?
I think it's not knowing my own value and not learning the power of no. So I would talk myself in and out of a 5% commission and down to 4.5% before the client even said anything. And I needed to learn a script on that. And I have my favorite script out there, just learning to say no and just shutting up.
Yeah, for sure. When did you guys realize that you weren't just selling homes and you were building a legitimate business?
So Wayne? Again, I've always sort of run my own business. I know for sure I had that aha moment. I think I came to it initially treating it as a business right up front, just because I'd been doing that for years. So I took it, I treated it like that right up front.
That makes a lot of sense. What about you, Andrew?
I think that would be when I jumped off my regular day job. It just was a business from that point on. And I ran it as a business before that too. But, the necessity and the fear made me run it like a business right away.
Right. What did your weekly routine look like at that point?
Yeah, thankfully I had a mentor and a manager, Gus Monteleone. Shout out to Gus. He's with I think head office of RLP now, I think. He was fantastic. So I got training. So I went through, what is the guy's name? Not Tony Robbins, because I've done that too, but
Harry?
No.
Richard Robbins?
Richard Robbins. That's it.
Yeah, Canadian, great, phenomenal Canadian coach.
Yeah, he was great. And so I went through some of his stuff with Gus, and I met with Gus once a week. What did my day look like? To be honest, in the first little bit, it didn't look very structured at all. And I didn't know what it took to be a realtor in terms of what a realtor does every day. Like, I didn't know you had to lead gen every day. I did it on my own because I like to talk to people and I'm very social, and I go out and I meet people and all that stuff, but I didn't systemize it. I didn't track it, and I wasn't purposeful about it. And so that took a long time actually to come to that. I sort of waited for the phone to ring. Thankfully, it did ring a fair bit in the first 5 years, but waited for the phone to ring for the first 5 years.
Yeah, and that's because you've got a great network. You've got a big network, and that's a huge. You've got to be doing it every day. What about you, Wayne?
So I was a door knocker, a daily door knocker. I was pretty hardcore and pretty dedicated to that. I would be out every day, generally by 9:15, 9:30, and I'd be out for at least a couple of hours, and then go back and do my database calls. The lead gen part of that was I adopted and sort of stuck to pretty.
Yeah, it kind of ties into the next 2 questions, so you may have already answered them. But what did you stop doing that changed everything?
Waiting for the phone to ring.
Yeah.
I have to give credit where credit's due. I switched from Coldwell Banker at the time to Keller Williams, and I decided that I wasn't a God's gift to selling, because I used to be a commodities trader, and got coachable and found some humility within the business, and took the training that they had there. And for first time, I was 5 years or 6 years in at the time, but for new agents, it's a really great way to find what you're supposed to do as an agent. The skills, the track record, whatever you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to do every day. And so that was what I sort of stopped and started doing.
Yeah. Did you want to add anything to that, Wayne?
Other than just be coachable, I think that's part of it, right? There was great training involved early on, and I just sort of listened and did what I was told to do, and gave up it. Yeah.
And I think you guys kind of already answered this one too. But what did you do consistently that compounded. Not knocking on doors daily.
Yeah, it's the knocking on doors for
prospecting.
me. Yeah, because I was able to turn the majority of my business that came from the sphere started to come from the geo farm. So it was a knocking on doors.
Yeah, it's contacts. And for me, there's something on the other side, not just contacts, was gratitude, daily gratitude. So learning that my mindset was equally as important as my activities.
Yeah, it starts between the ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. Okay, let's talk about why did you guys decide to build a team?
Well, again, Andrew's 6'7", and he told me we were going to do that, so I just did it. I think the big piece for both of us, Andrew and I dated for a long time, in a very platonic manner.
Not exclusive.
In a professional way. And I think both of us were looking for leverage, right? We were looking for somebody, somebody that we could, and we did lean on each other when we were traveling, that we would cover off business for each other, but we each liked our style. And I think the big thing for us was that, there was a leverage opportunity between the two of us. We both are big, legacy pieces as well. And we like to be able to leave that sort of positive wake in the way of training people and having agents who are on our team become successful. And obviously there's economies of scale in there as well, right? So when you become a team as well.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting. I had started a team with Lenka, my wife, as well, prior to joining with Wayne. And Wayne was working with his son and Jen, his wife too. She's not a realtor, but definitely does a lot of things within that business. So it kind of came together organically that way. For me, it was leverage. I wanted to have a little bit more time. Running a team by myself was very challenging. It didn't give me that leverage and that peace of mind that I wanted. So I needed to take on a partner because my partner was my wife. So, I couldn't go away and leave it to her kind of thing, and so that didn't alleviate that situation. And that's what I wanted because and so was Wayne. We were successful single operators for what was it, 14 years or so, I guess, Wayne?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 12 years.
Agents, sometimes having assistants, sometimes not. But what we wanted to do is I wanted a little more time with my family and to see them. And I had young kids and still fairly young now, but I always tell this story. I came home one day from work and my daughter Annabelle had drawn this family picture. So I said, let me see it. And so I look at it. It's beautiful. I'm like, okay, well, why are there only, 3 people here? And she's like, you're working. And I was like, that was a shot to the heart. And I realized that I needed to have a little more balance and that I was working for a reason. And that real estate gives us a great life, but we also have to live that life. So I'm guilty of being a bit of a workaholic and needing to know when to turn it off.
Yeah.
What are we both doing? Guilty of that, right?
Yeah.
But I was just in Italy in October and I had a house for sale and we had an offer come in while I was away and Andrew ran with it and got the deal done. And, it didn't disturb my holiday like it really, that's the piece that when you want to shut off, you can shut off.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. So what were your first hires for the team and why?
Well, when we had the Bolton group, our first hire was an assistant. Why? Because I was taught that over and over and over again. That would be our first hire.
Apparently you're coachable as well. So when we joined forces, Andrew had a VA already. I had my first hire previous to that was also an assistant. Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're limited, right? To what you can produce on your own. Like at some point, either the quality of service drops or you burn out, right?
Yeah. Well, anyone watching this that's a single agent knows they hit a level, like a ceiling. There's a ceiling that you hit. It's sometimes different for a lot of people, but for me and for a lot of people I've talked to, it's about 30 to 35 deals, about $500,000 GCI. You're really not going to break through that without an assistant of some sort and likely a buyer's agent as well.
Yeah.
Or you could do it, but you'll lose your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you'll be drawn out of family pictures. Yeah.
Well, at least there wasn't somebody else drawn in. That's,
Yeah, who's this other dude?
Yeah. It's Micah. No.
That's the mailman.
How do you guys drive consistent lead flow? Like what lead pillars do you guys have?
Oh, interesting. There's basically 2, right, Wayne?
Yeah.
I mean, it's database network. So database is our gold mine. We've But there's the other pillars. What Wayne has really built, and our agents really work on a lot is door knocking.
Yeah.
25% of our business comes from door knocking.
Right. What about like social media or?
Oh yeah.
So we do that.
I lump that into the database. We and Micah, you and I have talked about this previously. We're not getting a lot of new business from social media. That's one of our plans for this year. It's been more just nurturing and building that rapport socially online before and bringing the clients back in and just being top of mind. That's we've really ramped up our social media. We've hired someone to help us with that, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah.
With some of our videos getting, well over 1 million views and stuff like that. Right now, that's just good for the ego. We want to turn that into some actual business, but that's where that comes in.
Awesome. Let me see here. What does your weekly operating? I don't like this question. Hold on.
While you're looking for another question, it is imperative that you're bald to be successful.
So I could join.
You're on your way.
What standards do you guys protect no matter what on your team?
Do you mean standards that we enforce on the team or standards that Andrew and I personally?
Let's do both.
Let's do both.
Okay. Yeah, the standards for me is you've got to love on the database. That's the one piece, just because so much of my business comes from the database. You've got to give the appropriate amount of time on the database. And then from a team perspective, we have a contact standard, an appointment standard, a number of thank you cards that need to be written, a number of coffees that need to be gone on. So we have team standards as well that we enforce with our guys, and those are weekly standards that they're expected to adhere to.
Yeah, that looks like 100 contacts a week each agent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's minimum.
That's their minimum.
Yeah,
right.
So and we do encourage people to go past the minimum, but that would be the minimum standard for contacts. And then on a personal side, Wayne and I, our pillars of our business are honesty, service, and integrity. We demand that from ourselves and also from anyone we work with.
Great. Okay, so you already touched on this, but I know you started with your brokerage was Coldwell Banker, right, Andrew?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then what made you why did you decide to switch to Keller Williams?
Coldwell Banker was great. It was with Equity. I ended up getting an opportunity to do a big development piece in Aurora called the Well Street Lofts, and I needed a skill set that they couldn't have, they didn't have available. And I had found someone by the name of Marvin Alexander who did a lot of new home sales, and so he happened to be the owner of Keller Williams and up in Newmarket, and he took me under his wing on that project, and then subsequent projects and my business in particular became very much a mentor for me. And, when I went to meet him for the first time and asked him, would you help me? He said, of course I'd help you, but you have to join my brokerage. And so that's basically how I ended up there. Not knowing how, beneficial it would be for my business, to be honest. It was a really, really great experience, really great place to learn, grow. And the culture was fantastic, and that's where I met Wayne, and we got to work and teach and stuff like that.
Awesome. And Wayne, what about you? Did you start at KW or did you?
No, I started at Prudential because the realtor that sold us the house prior to that was the broker of record at the Prudential office in King City. And so when she found out I got licensed, she said, well, come to my brokerage and I'll give you all my buyer leads. And it turns out it was just me and her really in the office. And so my training from her consisted of a box of cards that she printed and gave to me and said, okay, go door knock. I'm not kid you not. That was my level of training in terms of what I was like, okay, I'll go knock doors. So then, I'm knocking doors and I'm starting to generate some leads. And I actually had, somebody who was ready to write. I had a commercial, somebody from my database who stepped forward to want to buy a commercial property. And, I don't even know enough to buy a residential property, let alone a commercial property at the time. So I'm reaching out to her and there's no response. And this is now, I think I was there in April and this is now August, and I'm not getting any support or any response from her. And so I was forced to kind of go because I thought, well, I can't stay here. I really kind of don't know what I'm doing. And I don't have anybody guiding and protecting me through this. Again, Janice's suggestion was, hey, I kind of like the KW logo and I kind of like their brand. And why don't you go talk to them? Because I didn't talk to them the first time around. So I did. Yeah. And we jived and away I went. Yeah. I had to quit on the phone, believe it or not, to my broker because I could not get her.
Couldn't get a hold of her.
Couldn't get a hold of her. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Amazing. Okay, so what did you guys take away from that chapter with Keller Williams? And Andrew, you want to start?
There's so much, to be honest.
mhm.
I took away what's important to me in terms of culture and working environment and who I want to work with. I learned what I needed to do as a realtor daily. That's where I really learned how to run a business, the business the way it's supposed to be run. I learned that scripting was really important. And because I had a really big chip on my shoulders about scripting.
Oh, you're one of them.
Yeah, it's probably a story for another time. But in the end, I came around and I learned to, I learned to grow up there a little bit. I learned it was very holistic in terms of my experience there. A wonderful environment to grow as a, even though I was in the business for 5 or 6 years, like I said, and pretty successful, I still considered myself to be a new agent because I just didn't know how to be a realtor properly.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to learn that part-time, right? Like without being fully entrenched. You take from your chapter with Keller Williams. What did you take away from?
I think similar to Andrew was I really grew and very holistically as well. It was I think I fundamentally changed as a person. My mindset changed, the way I treated my business changed, the way I kind of viewed the universe. It all just changed there. It was a really great place for me to learn the fundamentals and then also systems to continue to grow. So it was really, to Andrew's point, I came out not the same person that I went into the business as. I changed fundamentally as a person as a whole.
Here's the tough.
That's what I did. I grew as a person, business owner, trainer, like all of that. Yeah.
Got it. And here's the tough question. Can you summarize it in a sentence?
Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah,
Okay.
I grew as a person, a realtor, a business owner, and as a trainer. All of it came out, just a different guy.
Andrew, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I do, because I thought about
Do you have a question, Andrew?
No, I have my sentence.
Let's
Too
hear it.
late. We're moving on.
No, I think in the sentence, I think I learned that you could be in sales and operate in sales with integrity.
Nice. Great.
That would be the big learning.
Awesome.
I'll take my hand down.
Okay, so what made you guys start to consider a move to Remax Hallmark?
So I think we've hit a bit of a ceiling with the team a bit, Andrew? I think we wanted some more support in terms of building the overall team. I think an energy change was required. I think those two things for me fundamentally were two of the big pieces.
Yeah, I think, I think it was also about wanting to have, not trying to sound egotistical, but being a big fish in a small pond is not always great for people like me. And so I wanted to be in a bigger pond and have some more opportunities, some more room to grow. It's not that we couldn't have grown there. It was more about, it was just time for a change of energy, like Wayne had said. COVID did some strange things to a lot of brokerages in terms of, what agents sort of rely on their brokerage for, their activity levels within the brokerage. And it really was not something that's something that I really value, and I know Wayne does too. And it was evident after COVID that was a challenge amongst all brokerages. So we were looking for a place that might have a little bit more, or we could bring a little bit more of that energy to an office and get that same kind of environment that we were looking for.
Right. Leads me into my next question. Like, what had to be true for the change to make sense for you guys, to be worth it for you guys?
Well, I think there's the support piece, the structure that Remax offered us in terms of helping us to analyze our business, continue to grow, put us in rooms with people who are bigger thinkers that, again, to Andrew's point, where you never want to be the smartest person in the room. Not that I've ever had that problem.
Yeah, that's not our problem, Wayne.
So, being able to learn from people who are operating at a really, really high level, and just having that support, and obviously there was there's financial considerations to keep in mind as well that came into play, and obviously fundamentally we're business owners at heart, and that was something we had to consider as well.
Yeah. Aside from what Wayne has said, there was really a structure set up and laid out to us that made sense to me in terms of how it could help us grow our team as well. So involved in the support, the training, and the actual focus on our business in particular to not just us, but I mean our type of business. So a team growing at how to run it properly, and knowing that you had the track record because you have some of the biggest names in the business in this area at Remax Hallmark was also had to be true, to bring it back to how your question was framed.
Yeah. Walk us through when you knew the move was going to be right for you.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I was in Italy and Andrew started this, hey, we should start our own brokerage, right? I think it was when I was away, right, Andrew? And I was like, just sell my house and leave me alone. I'm in Italy. And I think it was when, again, when the overall package was presented to us, it didn't take us very long to sort of say, this is a great offering. All in all, it's a fantastic offering and it's a no-brainer for us. I think really, I don't think it took much time, right, Andrew? I mean, once we started a discussion with Remax, it was pretty fast.
Yeah, Mike, as you know, I was close to signing a lease, and we were pretty far down on opening our own sort of boutique brokerage. But the opportunity presented itself, and honestly, there wasn't a second thought.
Mm-hmm.
It just made sense.
And I think, Wayne, like maybe Andrew went through a bit of a longer process than you did, because Andrew and I started talking, and then Steve and I started talking, and then he probably filled you in because you were in Italy. But yeah, and it had to kind of happen quickly because you were in the process. You were about to sign a lease and start your
right.
Yeah,
Wayne had it easier. You're right.
I did. I was drinking, Aperol spritzes.
We know Andrew lifts the heavy weight, right? So. What has been better than expected through the process of joining Remax Hallmark?
I mean, I know, Andrew, you're mired in this right now, but just from a preliminary, I think the tech is better for us. I think, there's obviously growing pains, but there's the overall package that comes with the Remax offering, I think is superior to our old offering in terms of the tech package. So that's been nice.
Yeah. I also think the response from clients, to be honest,
Oh, really?
I would have been the first to say from the mountaintops, the brand doesn't matter. And I still believe that because they don't necessarily understand which brand it is. But if we get to a talk to people about a brand, or when we've announced it to clients and things like that, they say, when I think of real estate, I think of Remax.
Yeah. I think especially in Canada, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Probably all over the world, really.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know, but the people we talk to, that's been surprising. But it makes me giggle because it's filed in that I don't like scripting part of my brain. I don't want to believe it, but yeah, it's there.
Interesting.
Well, I think in an industry where brand is diminishing in terms of just the number of brokerages that are out there, and ultimately most of our clients, when clients I do lots of business with, I don't even think they knew what brokerage I was at. I think the Remax brand is the one that, to Andrew's point, carries the most weight still.
Yeah. What has the transition been like operationally for you guys?
Like drinking from a fire hose.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. It's a lot.
It's
right?
a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's a lot anywhere. So, you can never, even just switching CRMs, which I've done many, many times, staying within the same brand is a lot. So that's where it's mostly a lot, is actually on the tech side. So it's more on the website, the tech, just getting to know new stuff, ironing out. We use our CRM really heavily, right? So it runs our business. It has the cadence of follow-up depending on the type of lead, of clients. It really is our central hub. So that's why it's a little bit more daunting, I think, for us. The terms of coming over to Remax, it was really nice because it was laid out to us, the steps. There are people that are there that are helping us along the way. And so just having like the next steps there is great. But whenever you leave, there's a lot going on. It always feels like a little overwhelming.
Yeah, and we decided to do a full rebrand on our signs and cards, and which, a lot of agents might not have to do. We thought it was time for us to do. So that was a little, an added level. But again, to Andrew's point, it's always whenever you move, there's going to be work to it. And ultimately, it's like making a move. Whenever somebody asks me a right time to sell my house, I'm like, well, why are you selling your house? And they say, well, because, I want to move closer to my kids. And I'm like, well, then life is going to be better after you move, right? So there's going to be upheaval. Selling your house is never a fun thing, but making a move, there's work to it. But ultimately, once you get there, it'll all be worth it.
I think you may have just answered my next question. It was, what would you say to a team leader or somebody who's worried about making a move?
Yeah,
That's basically
the same thing. Like you just said, it's not going to be easy, but is it worth it? And if you're excited for it, I'm really excited by it. I still have the excitement. So, Wayne and I, we partnered well because we have different strengths. And I really like the sort of system side of things, and Wayne likes the coaching side of things and stuff like that. So I'm still excited about the techie side of stuff. So I like it because it gives me an opportunity to find some efficiencies as well, and where we haven't been so efficient. So I like this kind of switch up for that reason as well. So I think, it would be to a new team lead would be, jump in, the water's warm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This actually leads to my next question. As you know, we specialize, like we have a lot of teams, 33 mega teams, 209 teams now with you guys. And so that's one of our specialties. And we're just about to start a process that we take, people like yourselves, team leaders, through, called discovery. And so tell me a little bit about that. Are you excited about that? What do you know about it?
We're not
excited about it at all, actually. So to be, because you sent I think we got the email yesterday, and both of us joked about we just curled up in the fetal position, because it was like I just kept scrolling through the email about the amount of information that you required from us, and I was like, they're going to get this next year. No, but the flip side of it is that if you're operating your business, and we can pull the information together, and it's a bit of a daunting task, but we'll pull it all together. If you're running a business correctly, it should be information that's not that hard to pull together. But yeah, it's significant. There's a lot of information there, but you're running a business, and this is serious business, right?
Which will make it worthwhile, right? I mean, if you were just to come in and do a high level, I don't know if I would get much out of it. So, it's daunting to put this together. And as much talk as we have put in the past 44 minutes or so of this podcast about running our business like a business, it shows us where we're not running our business like a business, because we don't have our P&Ls at our fingertip. We don't know, well, we do, but it's a range. It's not exact in terms of what our cost per listing is and stuff like that. So it's just, we got to pull our big boy pants up and get the information to you so that we can, follow some of what you've done with the other big teams.
Yeah, and you guys have big goals, right? It's a necessity to level up, to take things to the next level. So yeah.
And you need that third party. It's great. It's a great resource.
I mean, Micah, to your point, this was one of the things that drew us to Remax Hallmark was this very exercise. Not this podcast story, but what we're talking about in terms of discovery. Discovery,
coaching, like exactly. Okay. Lead through uncertainty. So when the industry feels noisy and uncertain, what should agents focus on to keep winning?
Keep their head down and actions, contacts.
Yeah, the contact sport. Right?
Yeah, mindset and actions. Like just, like tone out the rhetoric, turn off social media, and just go talk to people and have great conversations with them. And, build trust and demonstrate that you care, because that's what it is.
When we talked to our agents about this in our meetings a lot over the past couple of years, because we've had some challenging up and down years, some shifts and things like that. And when everyone else is saying it's a shit market, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here, but when it's not a great market, that means that they're stuck in neutral. So I see that as an opportunity for us to keep working. We have to work harder, yes, and maybe a bit more. But there's an
pivot,
or pivot. But everyone else can keep that idea. Yeah, it's such a bad market. Yeah, you should just stay and wait for a good market. We'll take care of the rest.
But it's never a bad market for everybody, right? And right now it's not a great seller market, which means it's a great buyer market. So you got to change your message and go and find those people. And you got to peck a little harder at the dirt to find those nuggets, but they're out there. There are people who are transacting every day in real estate. You just got to find them, right?
I think it's always regardless a great realtor market.
Yeah. And it starts with mindset, like you guys said.
Absolutely.
I think it's also important, Micah, to sort of interject here, but we don't focus on transaction. We focus on helping people. So in times of insecurity or ups and downs or economic insecurity, there's a lot of people that need help. And if we focus on helping people, then the business comes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I believe in that fully, for sure. Let me see here. Okay. What should agents look for in a brokerage partnership to protect their business in the long term, especially when in markets with uncertainty and whatnot?
Yeah. Especially after this year of some uncertainties at different brokerages, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's more important than ever, and we've never really looked at it as realtors, to be honest. We just sort of trusted in the fact that governing bodies and governing companies would act as the way they're supposed to, but they haven't been. So I think it's really important to actually know the leadership, trust the leadership, see some of their systems and how they operate. What's the financial health of the brokerage? Where are they at? What are their plans? What are their growth plans? What are their weaknesses? I mean, that's something that when I was interviewing brokerages, I honestly never even looked at it until now, actually. And because it's, you don't want to, you don't want to sign up with somebody that may not be in for the long haul or may not have the quality control that you need, because it is quite important. They're handling the back end, the transactions, the money, our clients' money. So it is quite important to actually interview them on that stuff.
Yeah. What would you say to agents that get distracted with the media headlines, fear? Wayne?
Just meditate. No, I think you've got to, I was talking about this. I was out with my mortgage gals today, and just, you've got to remember that social media is after the reptilian part of your brain. It just wants to feed you with negativity because it keeps you engaged. So, I mean, I would say the number one thing is turn it off, and then figure out a way that makes you feel good. If that is, meditation, whatever it might be, like, what are you doing? Because you've got to work on yourself too, right? Like, we're not just, we're back to that holistic part of it. How are you treating yourself, and how are you talking to yourself? And you can convince yourself of anything if you let the wrong, those sort of negative voices talk to you all the time. So turn that crap off and find a space that makes you feel good about yourself. Find a routine that, where you're feeling positive about the world, because there's a lot of positivity out there. You just got to focus on it.
I mean, don't listen to it. Like Wayne said, proof is in the pudding. Our team outpaced the downfall of the market in terms of, how many sales have been done. We're not tracking with the market, we're outpacing it. And I think that's only because we keep our heads down and we really work on the actions. And then, when things aren't coming as easily, and admittedly, every deal has felt like 10, especially if you compare it to years like 2021. But I mean, comparing it to a normal year, it's been challenging, and people are a little more frustrated. But we just got to keep doing what we're doing. Thankfully, Wayne and I and our team love what we do. Like, and I really, truly mean that. Because if we didn't, I don't know if I would have that energy to keep doing what we have to do and to turn off all that noise. Like, there are definitely easier occupations out
there. Okay. What does success look like for you guys over the next 12 months?
Yeah, exceeding our goal. More importantly, that our team members exceed their goals, meet or exceed their goals. That's really it, because Andrew and I always talk about, our databases and our businesses, so they sort of hum along. We do our transactions, and we're blessed with a lot of people who are consistently call us. It's the guys. If they make their number or exceed their number, then that's where I'm going to be like, all right, we've had a good year.
Yeah. I'd like to grow our team. I'd like to add some great agents to our team, to our family, and help them, build careers that they're proud of.
So how many would you like to add over the next 12 months? There's going to be agents listening to this. Yeah. You guys are a phenomenal, no, seriously, you guys are a phenomenal team in Toronto and the GTA. It's a huge opportunity for anybody. What do you want? What are you thinking you want to do over the next 12 months?
Yeah, we're not looking to grow a mega team by any means. And we do a very hands-on approach and make sure that everyone's good. So 4 to 5 producing agents would be fantastic. Yeah, that's our goal.
Who would be the right fit to join your world, your team, and what type of agent thrives with you guys?
Wayne, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I think we need somebody who's coachable. We need somebody with a great attitude. Andrew and I both struggle with, Eeyores, that really super, super negative sort of energy that we really struggle with. We think anybody is capable of having success. So we're looking for somebody who, again, is coachable, is accountable, has great energy, is willing to do the work, and willing to just kind of sort of say, hey, just tell me what I need to do, and I'm going to go and do it. And I'm going to continue to grow as well. Growth is a big thing for us. So we read a book every month. We study scripts. We do all. When you come in, you're going to continue to grow, and you need to be in on that as well.
Yeah, you got to have some drive. You really have to have some drive, because as much as we're there to help with as a team, it is also a solo sport as much as it's a team sport. We don't micromanage, we don't we don't handhold, but we want people that are excited to get up and do this job. It's a really fun job. We really love it. I don't even like calling it a job, but it can be really, really, really rewarding, and we love to teach people how to do that. So if that's what people are interested in doing, but they have to want to do it. Like 100 contacts. I'll be frank, we interview a lot of people, and they don't even like our minimums. In terms of what our expectations are, and that is fair, and I actually appreciate that someone really thinks about it and is like, you know what, that's not for me, and I fully understand that. Our minimums are higher than a lot of.
The crazy thing. Sorry to interrupt, Andrew. But the crazy thing is that's what it takes.
That's what it takes.
Well, that's we didn't just make it up. This is from our years of experience of what we had to do. So it's it. Yeah.
If somebody's sorry, go ahead, Wayne.
When the real estate pie gets smaller, you have two choices. You can either take a smaller portion, or you can work harder to take a bigger portion, right? That's the reality. You need to talk to more people.
But also the reality is it's the biggest opportunity to gain market share.
100%.
Of course.
Okay, if somebody's listening right now and is interested in joining your team or learning more about it, what should they do next?
You should reach out to us. We'll have a coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're not pressurized people, and even though Wayne looks the way he is, he's very nice. And
we forgot to say that they've got to be bald, right?
We have some haired people on our team.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
Not everyone has to be follically challenged.
We don't hold it against them.
Okay.
Maybe secretly.
What would you say to an agent that feels like they've plateaued?
I've been there.
Need a system. Generally, your natural ability is only going to get you so far, and you're going to hit that ceiling, right? So you're going to be banging your head against it. At some point in time, you're going to need a system that gets you through it, or some coaching or something to get you through that to that next level. That's usually the missing piece. Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, we're going to go into quick rapid fire questions.
I didn't study these ones. Oh no.
One belief.
No, green.
One belief about real estate you now have that you wish you. One belief about real estate you have now that you wish you had at the start.
It's about helping people.
Yes. What did you say?
It's about helping people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's simple. Book. It's not easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Simple, not easy. Best book, Andrew.
Best book for real estate? I really love Ninja Selling.
Yeah, great one. Great one. Wayne, best book.
I like The Happiness Advantage.
Nice. Wayne, mentor.
Ooh, I don't know if so Darren Hardy's a big one for me. I've read his books, and I get the daily Darren. If no one else gets there, you can get that on a daily email. I really like him. Yeah, he's great.
Andrew, mentor.
I've got many. I'll just give a shout out to Marv. Marv Alexander was a great mentor.
Yeah. And awesome. Andrew's been a great mentor to me as well. Thanks, Andrew.
Well, thanks, Wayne. You too.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say my name, Andrew, but
I wasn't. No, it didn't come to mind. I'm sorry, Micah.
Resource that impacted your business the most, Wayne.
The resource that impacted my business most, I'm going to say just overall training. There was a bunch of training courses at KW that I did between the Ignite program and between the Bold program. There was some great coaching programs that had a super high level of accountability, and they were short term. They were like 8-week courses, kind of, again, that 100 minimum standard, and you'd go at it hard for, a period of time. Those were great for my business.
Awesome. I'm going to go just in because of time. I'm going to go one question to Andrew and then a different question to Wayne. So Andrew, one daily habit that drives your success.
Gratitude lists.
Yeah. Love it. Wayne, biggest misconception agents have about building a team.
That it's really, really hard, that it's going to not be worth it.
Right. Nice. I love it. Andrew, one thing you would do if you were starting again today with zero data.
Join a team.
Great. Fill in the blank. The agents who win in the next 2 years will be the ones who, Wayne?
Stay in the business for the next 10.
Stay in the business for the next 10. So guys, this has been great. Just want to say thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate and respect what you guys have built. You have an incredible team. And thanks for doing the podcast with us.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. It's been fun.
It has been
awesome.
fun.
And for any agents listening, if you want to learn more about Remax Hallmark, feel free to drop a comment or send us a message.